All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hopping into it. I do apologize as ads did run, or the game got started much sooner than I thought it would. But I guess we're going to be sitting on pause. And I did ask what the score is right now. It is tied up 1-1. As this is game number 3 of the qualifying series. And of course, this is the qualifying game of the qualifying series. So a lot on the line over here for both of these players, if they want to get that, of course, paid trip over to the WCS Spring Championship. Top 8 do end up qualifying. I believe the players who have qualified so far are Euthermal, Vortex, Strange, Bly, and Bunny, who qualified, our first player who qualified from the lower bracket. I have no idea what those words mean. Niero Grzana zi gestem. Probably offending someone right now. I'm almost certain I'm offending someone right now. But all right, here we go. We're getting back into it. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map as the yellow Terran player from Team TES. Give it up for Soul. And his opponent spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. The green Zerg player from Team TES also. It is Guru. All right, and give me a moment as for some reason, occasionally, you know, Challenge, if you guys know the site. I love Challenge. It's like a great site for tournaments and stuff, but sometimes it just starts freaking out and it just starts eating up my like computer, my CPU. It just goes crazy, mad with the power of my CPU. But I'm gonna have to close that. Cool. So I don't have the bracket pulled up. Will not be able to give you guys immediate bracket updates, but there we go. As we see a little bit of that lag coming into effect. Hopefully not affecting the players, but here we go. Reaper moving on in. We had a fairly fast third expansion being thrown down for Guru. These two teammates playing against each other. Of course, we take a look at where Soul has been going in his game. Going up to a very fast starport. Getting up that fast Widowmine drop, as it seems he would like to. Of course, Runes of Endion, a very nice map for something of the sort. I'm always interested to see when Terran and Zerg players decide to knock down these rocks. Yeah, you know, even Protoss players as well. Not a Protoss game, but of course, I am always interested in seeing just when players in general knock down these rocks. And sometimes you end up seeing some players get very cheeky about it. They don't knock down their rocks. They knock down their opponent's rocks to prevent your opponent from getting a bit aggressive. Of course, it's a little bit harder to pull off, but it definitely can happen occasionally. Regardless, we're not going to be seeing either of these players decide to go for it. In fact, we do see Roachworn coming down for Guru. We're going to be seeing a bit of that difference from Mini Razor's playstyle in the ZvT matchup, where he liked to go for that Ling Bling Muta style. We're seeing a return to the potential Roach Ravager Hydra style that we sometimes see a lot of Zerg players going for these days. Or have been going for just a lot since Legacy of the Void. But Seashank also coming out for Soul. He's doing that nice little mix-up of his own to a slightly different style than we've seen from the other Terran players that have been favoring those Widowmines in the previous games. But Zergans, oh, they managed to kill off one of the fresh mules. Really, really nice target firing there. As that, again, that was the fresh mule. There was a slightly older mule still around. But Lerta coming up over here for Guru. Trying to play fairly greedy over here, as I think he's sitting on, yeah, just 12 Zerglings is all he's really made. He's going to be using these to just try and deny any sort of drop harassment or anything, as well as some of those queens. Making a couple more Zerglings now, getting up to a slightly higher number, but both of these players playing a very economic-focused game, as third expansion coming down on the quote-unquote low ground. I mean, really, it's kind of the high ground, but regardless. Widowmine, gonna do a little bit of friendly fire to the last remaining Marine, but nice pull-up from Soul, identifying that that's exactly what Guru was going for, leaving some of those Zerglings over there. Seashank coming into the mix, getting some really good splash damage done on some of these Zerglings. Now they're gonna be pretty vulnerable to any additional splash damage. People saying there's a bit of static on my mic. Let me see if I can clear that up, in case it's still around. It's something that, it's like a bug that's been around with XSplit for a very long time. Hopefully it does clear up. But here we go. Soul moving around. That Widowmine is still around. It does finally get picked off by the Overseer coming on in. Get some damage done on the Queens. That might be helpful for the Siege tank, but not quite able to finish any of them off. All of them getting very low. That split up damage. And Guru is able to defend without really taking any worker losses or any significant worker losses. Kills off 2 workers so far this game, but of course the main thing, establishing that third expansion behind all this, and still not opting to knock down the rocks, something that again I'm still a big fan of. Terran players knocking down the rocks, even Zerg players knocking down the rocks to prevent Hellion harassment or something, but I can sort of understand not wanting to knock down the rocks against a Terran player in this situation. Especially since you can see how much trouble these rocks are causing him over at this third expansion right now with the siege tanks. Of course, even the queens a little bit further back. Where are those queens? I think the queens actually may have died. Some of the, yeah, 2 of the queens have died right now. And that means that there's no larva injects coming over at this third expansion, and no queens on the way additionally either. So maybe a little bit of mistake over here from Soul. Just that extra little bit of pressure was starting to weigh in, as this is, again, qualifying match, game number 3. Both these players may be starting to make a couple of mistakes they wouldn't normally make. But Soul started to make his way across the map with a handful of these Marines. The Medevac's also joining up with the forces. Gonna be able to provide a little bit of that healing. Of course, I believe Stim is finished up, but Combat Shields, yeah, Combat Shields is still on the way, so this push is going to have a bit of trouble dealing with some of the roaches, since those roaches can kill off those Marines fairly quickly, and they also do have that extra armor that all roaches are known to start with. Carapace +1 is also going to be finishing up pretty soon, so going to have a little bit extra armor to work with. Overlord does get sniped off, and Soul not going to feel comfortable pushing on forward. He threw down the scan, he cleaned up a lot of the creep, but the creep still scouted out that army. So Guru gets into position, he knocks down those rocks, going to have a much easier time defending from that side. Now, I really like the fact that the creep is spreading down here on the bottom side, because he has the extra opportunity to say, oh, I see that that double drop is moving over to my main base. Let me get my roaches into position. He is in position to deal with this, is going to be able to force a lift off, and these Marines are not going to be able to get any damage done. Even leaves a handful of these roaches over along the top side, ready to deal with the drop that's moving along the top. And the creep spread has definitely been working out quite well for Guru in this game. Well, Liberator harassment looking for a different type of opportunity to get some damage done, but the Spore Crawlers are already getting started up. Spore Crawl already finished up over here for Guru. So really, Guru is very on point with the defense so far. Getting up his hive tech as well, and starting to get up some of those infestors. The infestors is something that I really like a lot of Zerg players have been doing lately, because there was sort of this trend where Zerg players were going up to hive tech, getting up the ultras, but there was this big gap where they would say, I'm playing sort of on not a amazingly high tech composition. It's just like Ling Bling and occasionally like a few Mutalisks, and they would just go straight up to hive. Very, very greedy hive techs. And they would just slowly end up dying, and it would sort of be the situation where we either die or we get up to ultras so quickly we just win. But a lot more players going for the more stable thing, going for the infestors. This Liberator is getting some serious work done. Oh my god, 8, 9 kills, 10 kills, 11 kills before it goes down. And now we see only 51 workers around for Guru. That was a significant amount of damage done. Now, Guru only sitting on 51 workers and no 4th expansion, as that did get canceled or at least delayed by that drop over along the top side, despite the roaches being over there. Soul's doing a pretty nice job putting on the pressure. It has a 4th expansion of his own, started up over with those rocks have already been knocked down. The double drop now moving around for the bottom side. There is still an active creep tumor over here. This lone active creep tumor, not even connected to the rest of the creep. But the Overlord plus Creep Tumor spread is going to be enough to give vision and force that double drop back. Zorgon's trying to knock down these rocks over here. Looks like Guru may be okay sacrificing a couple Zorgons to knock down the rocks. No. Opts to retreat back as Zorglings for now. Gonna find an opportunity later on to go after those rocks and maybe open up another opportunity for a big Zergling run by. Well, finally, we do start to see some of the Ravagers and everything in the mix. Going to be complemented by some of those Ultralisks to give that tank ability on the front lines. Liberator is going to have to be the answer for the Ultralisks. The Liberator is not exactly in massive numbers either. I mean, a massive 1 Liberator out on the map, a 2nd Liberator, or sorry, yeah, 3rd Liberator and 4th Liberator now going to be on the way as well. But definitely not the most Ultralisk prepared composition over here from Soul. I feel like he's really got to get a lot of damage done now. Denying this 4th expansion is going to put him in a very, very good position as long as he doesn't just die to the big counterattack. Fourth expansion goes down without any form of defense whatsoever. Fourth expansion going to try and be reestablished over here by where the rocks are. Or where the rocks were. The rocks do get knocked down on the other side of the map. Trying to look for an opportunity to move in. Not quite able to make a whole lot happen over here. Roaches trying to gun it on the siege tank, but nothing going to happen over there. And Guru really going to have to make this pressure work. Roaches and Ravagers do manage to clean up the drop along the top right-hand side of the map, but the Ultraless, Chitinous Plating, these are going to be the big key things. As soon as these upgrades are finished up, Guru has to deny the fourth expansion, kill off a lot of the army, kill off some workers. He's got to get something done because he is just really far behind in terms of not only the worker count, sitting down 15 workers, but also this expansion. This fourth expansion is so ridiculously late compared to Sol, who's finishing up that planetary fortress. Is obviously the Terran player has been sitting on those 3 command centers, getting up the mules. We have a massive droning coming out from Guru, so maybe he's trying to look to get the damage done and just be able to, work on that good economy behind this. But here we go. Infestors with a lot of energy, totally full energy, looking for an opportunity, but the supply depot wall makes it so hard for those ultras to charge on in. Even the barracks over here along this top side of the third base make it difficult. I'm sort of surprised he didn't try and move in a little bit earlier down on the south side, but I guess the Liberators have already sieged up over there as well, and there's not a lot of anti-air besides the Ravagers. Ghosts now coming out, and Sol has bought himself enough time that the ghosts are out in pretty decent numbers. We already have, what, 7, 8 ghosts out? Drop harassment, or I guess like maybe Liberator harassment still happening over here. And pulling Guru back, so Guru was not really able to get the damage done that he wanted to. He has finally established those 4th and 5th expansions, but hasn't really started to saturate them just yet. Even a Liberator sieging up over there. Another drop harassment getting ready to move in at that top side, and this army is very far out of position trying to deal with the harassment over on the south side. He does move his army in just barely in the nick of time. Sol has to lift up, is not able to get the massive drone killing spree that he probably wanted to, or even just the kill on the hatchery once again, since he did that so many times. But here we go. Sol has a very, very strong composition to deal even with the Ultralists that are now in the mix. And he's now sitting very, very close to maxed out, as both of these players are pretty much maxed out at this point. Some of the Ultras segmenting themselves off with a handful of the Roaches. Going to be able to kill off a Cloak. No, Cloak does finish up just barely in the nick of time, but losing the Ghost Academy is a bit frustrating, as that is going to hold Ghost production for at least a little bit. But some big snipes going to be going off, massacring the Ultralists. Was it worth the trade? Well, Guru maybe going to try and make it a little bit more worthwhile by moving in on the other side, on the south side, getting into a better position, but the Liberators all siege up, and no way is this going to work out. The Ultralists still doing some good damage over here, surprisingly enough. I guess pulling the army back a little bit earlier than Sol really wanted to. Ends up killing off a decent chunk of the workers over there. We're now sitting down to 56 workers for Sol. Now, granted, he was mostly mined out of that third expansion, totally mining out of that natural. So really, he didn't need more than 56 workers to mine off of these 2 bases. In fact, he's oversaturated at his 4th expansion and gonna be okay over here at the natural, or the third. Oh, sorry, oversaturated at the 4th, gonna be okay at the 3rd. But still, kind of frustrating to lose all those workers. Makes it a little bit harder to take any additional expansions. So drop does get cleaned up with some nice fungal corrosive bile action. But Sol has that money army still alive. Even if you lost a decent chunk of those workers, has a couple of those ghosts still alive, and does have some energy starting to build up. Liberators also around in pretty decent numbers, so he has a lot of answers to those Ultralists that are the main army composition, or the main army unit that are still around for Guru. I mean, not surprisingly, they are 6-2 Ultralists with +3 Carapace still on the way, sitting a little bit further behind on those upgrades than his opponent. Well, Sol looking for an opportunity to get a little bit more damage done along the south side. Liberator is going to get cleaned up. Finally, some of those Corruptors starting to come in the mix. Ghost Academy is being reproduced over here for Sol, so he may just play a little bit more passively while he gets up that Ghost Academy once again, while he gets up this next expansion in the top left-hand corner. And we're starting to see Guru try to take the further and further away expansions way up along the top right-hand side, and this is where the drop harassment can really start to pull a Zerg player apart, especially when they're sitting maxed out in there. You can't really rely on some of those reinforcements coming in from those north expansions when you don't really have even that many queens really around anymore. It's pretty hard to get those defenses up. You sometimes often have to just start to rely on some of the static defenses coming up. But here we go. Same thing sort of applies to Soul as Zerg counterattacking to catch a lot of these workers off guard. Killing off a decent chunk of them, bringing down that SCV count from almost 65 or 70 down to just 53 once again. And Ultra is going to be able to cleave their way through a few more of those, bring them down to the low or the mid 40s. Drop Resonant along the top right hand side also gets pushed back by the Corruptors as well as a couple of Zerglings. And Guru is really starting to do a pretty good job over here. He denies that extra expansion, that 5th expansion, from going up. Even if the Ghosts are now up, and of course also in pretty decent numbers again, if the Ghost Academy is already finished up and 3-3 is finished up, it's okay, because I feel like now Guru's gotten himself into a pretty decent position again. He's got up a decent number of these infestors as well. Gonna throw down a couple of these fungal growths. Getting a money fungal growth down on top of all of the Liberators. Corrosive Biles chaining together alongside that, but does he have enough to finish off all these Liberators? Liberators start to spread out as all the fungal growths have been used up. The Liberators are still alive, but so are the Ultralists, and the Liberators are gonna have a very difficult time cleaning up both those and also these Zergans. Zergans and Ultras trying to find an opportunity. Oh, the supply depot accidentally lowers. Gonna let a lot of these Zerglings on in. And even though there's a little bit of damage being done with a drop, gonna be able to kill off this expansion. That's all well and good, but what are you gonna do when you're losing your main base, when you're losing all of your vital expansions? I think this just might be it. Guru has a little bit too much on his side of the map. Yeah, the drop is doing some real sick damage on the other sides of the map, but there's still a little bit of mining going over on at the 4th expansion. I feel like this is definitely going to be favoring Guru, right? A lot of the Ultras got cleaned up, it looks like, or at least pulled back to try and deal with some of the drops. This is really weird. There's 8 Ultras out. Surely Soul is sitting 64 supply to 138. He can't really reproduce his army. Surely Guru has taken a massive advantage. There's only 2 workers left over for Soul. There's no way he can reproduce his army. He's not even lost the orbital commands that were sitting over there. So this isn't even like a 4 orbital command or 3 orbital command Terran player that can use mules to repair or, you know, recover his situation. Here we go. These Liberators are pretty much the last dying hope alongside this singular Ghost that's hoping to get the snipes of his life. Maybe he can triple headshot in a row. That's the way snipes work, right? If they pass through another unit, they also kill that unit. No, if only Soul cries out to David Kim, hoping that maybe that will change. But here we go. Final stand over here. He's on creep. The Ultralist looking for an opportunity. And I mean, really great job over here from Soul. Zoning out a lot of this army. Even supply blocking Guru pretty heavily, as he's not going to be able to make a whole lot more units. Making 6 more Overlords. But here we go. Ultras charging on forward. Just walk straight past a lot of those Liberator zones. And the Marines just are not in plentiful enough army or supply to really make a whole lot happen over here. They retreat back over to the Liberators. But behind all this, Solus still isn't mining. Give it a couple of Zerglings, and these Corruptors can start to pee on this final remaining orbital. A singular Ultralist makes his way to deny any form of mining. No reinforcements going to be coming in. Soul literally has to win this game with these units, with what he's got, and he's killing off the only remaining mining base of Guru. Is this going to work? There's not any anti-air. Oh, a lot of infested Terrans being thrown out, and there is a couple of Corruptors now out, and that does clean up all of the Liberators. I feel like that's got to be all she wrote. Even if he's going to have a hard time catching up with these medevacs, it's 20 supply. Soul is more just staying in this game because he is in disbelief of how this game has gone. The fact that he is about to be knocked out, and of course Guru is about to qualify for the WCS Spring Championship through the European Qualifier. 8 slots are available, and one of those slots, it seems like, is going to be going to Guru. He saves this expansion with just the smallest slivers of health. Guru's probably wondering, like, do you have a hidden expansion? Like, let me check around the map. Is there something I'm missing here? Surely I've won at this point, right? Corruptors cleaning up the final remaining medevacs. Boost goes off, and I think that if that singular medevac goes down, once that medevac goes down, I think that we might just be seeing Guru tap out. Because he doesn't have, or sorry, not Guru, Soul tap out. Because he just doesn't have anything else. There's nothing else to work with. The Zorglings are cleaning up everything. GG gets called. Guru gonna be taking the series 2-1. And I will update these bottom things as we get those. Guru. And, well, I mean, it's not a whole lot of points since it is over now. But, Guru and Soul. We end up seeing this series go 2-1 again in favor of Guru. So that is going to be that for that particular qualifying match. There are still a couple other matches going on. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop into a short little break as we find our next game. You guys are watching the BaseTradeTV coverage for the WCS EU qualifiers. We'll see you guys in a little bit.